Storytime with Andy and Amanda.
Okay, Amanda, what are we doing today?
We're doing story time.
Yeah, it's the first one in a while, this, isn't it? So, is it? And what is Storytime, Amanda?
It's a podcast where we tell stories, read poetry.
I'm just chittle-chattle, basically, as I say. That's the way I do it. And we're actually not on Zoom tonight, Amanda, are we, either?
No.
We're actually in Nicholson and N studios at home. And we've got a friend of us today as well, so we've got the wonderful Linda Downs. Now, Linda, for people that don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself and read us your first poem.
Okay, I've been writing for probably most of my life, but like most people have sort of gave it up for jobs, kids, marriages. In lockdown I split up from a long-term partner and it was just like a floodgate and I just started writing and I didn't stop. So.
But I take it, was there a long gap then between that, when you originally writing and then suddenly starting, was it again like this over lockdown?
Yeah, like, when I split up the next day I wrote a piece about it and then I was like, well, you know what, I've really enjoyed that, to get back to writing again. It's quite therapeutic, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
So then I set myself a challenge, thought, right, I'm going to do a piece every day. So then I did a piece every day, then I thought, right, I can do a piece every month. So I did a piece for a month every day, and then I extended that to a year. I don't quite know how I did that, but I did. And it just, I think a lot of what I wrote was rubbish, probably a lot of it was repetitive, but it just gets you in that mindset of writing again, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been writing all my life, and you've been close to that, Amanda, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I started when I was 10, so I've never stopped really. And then you, Amanda, what was yours like? You were a bit later when you had a gap, didn't you?
My first memory of writing was when I was about 4 and I tried to rewrite fairy tales. I don't remember what I said or anything like that.
Yeah.
But then in your case, you started again properly in your 30s, didn't you?
I've been on and off.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just shows you that you get time, you all have different stories, but when it grabs you, you're never going to stop, are you?
Yeah.
Now, got to ask you, obviously, people in the Manchester area will know you do a lot of readings nowadays, don't
Yeah.
you? Tell us very briefly, before we start reading today, what made you want to go and read your poems out then?
Okay, so I think I was sort of growing in confidence generally. I had an Instagram account and, relatively good amount of followers. I saw other people doing it. I know there's a lot of, during lockdown, where a lot of people were doing like open mics, weren't they, on Zoom and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd like watch people and just feel like not confident enough to do it. And I thought, I'm just going to challenge myself. And I'd actually done a piece for, what's the place called now? Where we did a piece this year in the book. Oh, what's it called? It's gone out of my head. I'll remember in a minute. And they did a book launch at Pear Hat last year.
Oh yeah.
And it was a really miserable piece, and I got up and I just said, look, because everybody else had been really funny, and I just said, look, if you ever have me back, I'll promise I'll make you laugh, but on this occasion you're just going to have to suffer this miserable piece. And it just stopped all the nerves, and I got up there and everyone was sort of laughing, and I just felt, you know what, this is where I feel like I belong.
Good. No, I can't blame you now.
Buzzing Bard, that's what it was called. I couldn't remember it.
Oh, Buzzing Bards, oh yes.
I've
Yes.
heard of that, yeah.
Yes, I know the gentleman who runs that.
Yeah, he's a
as well.
lovely guy, yeah.
There's a stories about that, but we'll come on to that another day, right? I know him very well, actually. I've not seen him for a while, who's she, actually? Anyway, give us your first piece today, Linda.
Okay, so talking about ex-partners, and this is a piece that came from an ex-partner. It's called Birthday Witches. On the birthday of the ex-boyfriend who called me insane, I wish him a life swaddled in ordinary. A magnolia existence of vanilla yogurts, fat-free, of plain crisp, salt-free, of bob milk, taste-free, a school toilet paper, comfort-free. I wish him biscuits galore though, but only rich tea, which are neither rich nor tea. Of course I wish him sex, but only in the dark, always in his own bed, and knowing his love of games only when he's playing solitaire. I do want him to find love though, if only so I can believe in miracles. I wish he falls head over heels with a simple woman whose favourite colour is drab, who laughs at inappropriate times, a talkative thing that makes it hard for him to get a word in edgeways. I wish every day he confesses his love for her while her reply makes him cringe as she sings automatically over him, I love you more, knowing she never means it. I wish that she is a woman of faith who believes sex before marriage is a sin, that drinking is a sin, that gambling is a sin, who believes that any other sexual position besides the missionary one is the devil's work. I wish him a romantic wedding day, though, vows exchanged in a nondescript chapel, adorned with a sickly scent of incense and cream lilies, under the watchful eye of God's judgment, and a dad who carries a gun, who insists he wears a suit and tie, not just on his wedding day, but every day, whatever the weather. Shirt, top, buttoned up tight. I wish him a marriage bed full of semi-erections, a wife that laughs at inappropriate times. I wish him a child for every time he told me he didn't want one, a house full of mummy boys in a white suburb in the Bible Belt of South Carolina, shirt, top, buttoned up tight, whatever the weather. I wish him a car with no air conditioning and a radio that only plays hymns. I wish him the disdain of a green-coloured cat with IBS. And on cold mornings in his simply decorated beige house, it leaves a mess by the side of his bed, which he steps in.
Ooh.
The smell lingering long after he washes his feet. Not every morning, so he has time to forget, just once in a while. I wish him a lifetime of once in the whiles, and a wife who laughs at inappropriate times. But all the things I wish my ex, I never wish him me, never me again. I was a gift. It's just a shame I had to go insane before I had the sense to take that gift back.
Amanda.
I really enjoyed that.
Told you did. I knew you'd enjoy that one because I heard the rough draft of that one actually over at Randy's night, didn't I? Dublin Indemnity.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away Amanda was saying, I love that one. And you came on Speak Easy, didn't you? And we had all the problems with your mum to do with Amanda.
Yeah,
so
you weren't there.
typical, that, but it's brilliant. I have to ask you, I'm not going to ask about the topic. Was that quite a difficult piece to write?
I think no, because I'm over him now. And
Is it all true? Oh, shit.
And I think it's quite funny.
It's even worse.
I think if you knew him, like he used to talk, like he loved to talk for England and never let you get a word in edgeways. So the thought that he would marry a wife who was very similar to that and never let him get a word in edgeways, I think that would make me quite happy.
Ouch. That's all I'm going to say. It made me think of my ex actually before Amanda, that one, because she was like that. She's the copy swine she is. And Amanda's met her and I knew what you like, but it's like, I love to form on it because you held a lot of your anger back and that and made it really comical. Amanda, did that remind you a bit of Wendy Coates? You know, I kept thinking of Wendy Coates. I kept thinking of Wendy Coates when I first heard that piece. Because I know you like her, Amanda does like Wendy Coates stuff. So I don't know if you're familiar with her, check her out definitely. So.
And sometimes it's just, I think, nice to have a look at a different way of approaching a piece, isn't it, really? Yeah,
it's brilliant. I think the danger is when you do pieces like that, the repetition can kill it, you know, but I think it pulled it off well there because of all the sarcasm and the bitterness and in a comical way. It's brilliant. Very, very, it's one of my favourite pieces, yours, actually, that.
Thank you.
Amanda.
Right, okay. So I'll bring the tone of the room down now.
God.
Now I've got a piece of flash fiction called Unicorns of Venus. Once upon a time, in a galaxy not so far away, there was a planet called Venus. And on this planet there were unicorns. Yes, unicorns. But not your average run-of-the-mill unicorns with just a horn on their head. These had wings and could fly. They were like the Beyoncés of the unicorn world. Anyway, the unicorns of Venus were living their best life, flying around eating grass and sometimes kale if they were on a diet. They were having a grand old time until one day they noticed that things were changing. The sky was less blue and the forests were disappearing faster than that bottle of Baileys I drank last Christmas. The unicorns knew they had to act fast to save their turf, so they decided to team up with other creatures of Venus to form a coalition. And let me tell you, getting everyone on the same page was like trying to herd zombies who were anxious to get their first taste of human brains, or in this case, like herding space zombies. There were arguments over who had the best hairstyle, who could fly the highest, and who was the most photogenic. But the unicorns, being the savvy negotiators that they were, took charge of the situation. They used their perfect hair and their charm to convince the other creatures to join forces, and it worked. They all banded together to save their planet. The unicorns flew high above the clouds, showing off their impressive flying skills and surveying the planet for areas in need of help. And they did it all while looking fabulous, of course. It was like watching a fashion show and an air show all rolled into one. Despite a few setbacks, like the time the unicorns accidentally crashed into each other while playing a game of aerial tag, The coalition worked tirelessly to restore the damaged areas of Venus, and slowly but surely the planet began to heal. The unicorns, with their magical intuition and sharp senses, were key to the coalition's success. They even taught the other creatures a few tricks, like how to do the unicorn dance. It's like the Macarena, but only with more glitter. As the years passed, Venus flourished once again, and the unicorns became the most popular creatures on the planet. They were like the Kardashians of the unicorn world, only much more talented, of course. Everyone wanted to get a piece of the action. And so the unicorns of Venus became the talk of the galaxy. They showed that even in the face of adversity, it's possible to come together and make a difference, all while looking fabulous and entertaining everyone along the way. They lived happily ever after, flying through the forests of Venus, wowing everyone with their aerial acrobatics and making everyone laugh with their antics.
She's mad, isn't she?
I just absolutely love her sense of humour. I just think the fact that she can go off and just add to a story and add to a story.
Oh, I know.
And it's just, honestly, I always just enjoy her. I think her humour's amazing.
You're a genius. You really are. And it always gets me, like, we've been together now 6 years, haven't we? You're still fucking surprising me every time I put these earpieces. I don't know what she's going to do. You don't, because there's a good sign of a writer.
That was written for a submission call. I'm still waiting to hear back.
It was an American one, wasn't it? So they probably didn't get your sense of humour. So. Right, okay. This is the one that I promised Linda. So part of the reason why I want to get you down this day, Linda, because I've done this one about 3 or 4 times now, and you've not been around to hear this. So this one, if people are wondering, the 3 of us are on is it improvised theatre group, really?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And this partly came from that base, and we ended up, the 3 of us on 9, 10 others, ended up starting a speed dating thing, and I just kept going and asking people, do you want a jelly baby? Do you want a jelly baby? I can't remember what your character was, Linda.
It's such a really good course, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a belting course. It really is. I'll be putting details up for this one soon after it's done. I can't remember what your character was, Linda, you did in that thing. I remember what Amanda's was. She was playing a porn star, going and passing videos out to people. Mostly because you're on your maiden name, Amanda's, and Amanda Steele, isn't it, is a porn star.
Yeah.
That's
It's not me, honest.
So anyway, I just went around asking people, do you like jelly babies? So I did this one in Stockport, right, aloud the other week, and I couldn't dare do this again because Amanda was sat next to me. Originally was going to be reading after me, and I had to swap it round. And then I just kept turning around, passing jelly babies over to Amanda.
It's been forced for jelly babies, it was awful.
It was 16 year old at one point. But anyhow, this is speed dating with jelly babies. This is a theatrical monologue. So, do you like jelly babies? I love jelly babies. I love the black ones the most, and the red ones and even the yellow ones. How about you? Yeah, I've had fruit pastels before. They just don't hit the mark, if you know what I mean. I don't know what it is, but they just don't have that same magic when you open up the bag and have them staring at you in the face instead of a tube of fruit pastels. The newsagents around the corner of me, would you believe, even tried telling me last week, after they were sold out, there wasn't much difference between them and fruit pastels. Never heard anything so fucking stupid in my life. Do you like jelly babies? No, I'm not a weirdo. What's weird about loving jelly babies? It's not like going out for a curry on Saturday night. Yeah, I went on a date back into last year, and I even offered to pay extra if they sprinkle some of my jelly babies on top of my chicken korma. No, it didn't go down that well. I must admit, but I've tried it at home and it worked a treat. Really freshened up the full meal. They don't know what they're missing. Yeah, they just ain't a snack. Jelly babies. I love them. Do you want one? Breakfast. Oh, God. I couldn't eat my breakfast. I've had them on a bread. I've had them on bread as a jelly baby sandwich when I worked at the job centre years back. And even put them on a bar with some chips. That was a bit heavy, man. I was sick the next day after that. I won't do that again. Of course, I don't just eat them. I love cheese salad, I love a good tuna pasta bake. I always look forward to sneaking a few jelly babies after I finish work every day. Do you like jelly babies? What, chocolate? I won't dream putting them in hot chocolate. Or sprinkling with pasta sauce. Are you taking the piss? Even though I started in the factory the other month, I've become obsessed with them more and more and more. But even I would never dream of putting them in hot chocolate or pasta salad. Even I'm not that mad. You know what? I'm okay with that. Because it brings me happiness. And isn't that what life's all about? Finding things that bring you joy, no matter how silly they may seem to others. Now, I don't know if I'll meet my perfect match here tonight, but I do know I'll keep enjoying my jelly babies regardless. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll find someone who loves them as much as I do. But until then, I'll just keep sharing with whoever's willing to try. So, do you want one? It may just change your life. Or at least your taste buds.
We'd have to fight over the black ones.
Oh, I know.
Or the red ones.
No, it's red ones in my case. I don't know what was yours, Amanda.
I just like them all.
Yeah.
I like red and black.
Oh, but I'll remember
You can have
that
the
then.
yellow ones.
I'll remember that then. So, right. Okay, Linda. Back to you. Number
Okay.
2. Piece number 2.
I think I find that I write quite a lot about my family, and I think as we got older, I think my mum seems to sort of figure into a lot of the pieces I write. So this is a piece that I wrote because when I was younger, I never felt like I was loved by my mum, because she had so many other children and she had so many issues.
Oh, you've got quite a large family then.
Yeah, and she had so many issues of her own. But I think it took me a long time until I got older that I realised there's different ways of showing love, and they're not always about. I don't think people in the old days did say as much like "I love you" or hugs and stuff like. So it's very different. So
my family's not like that, and I don't think yours, Amanda, is it?
No.
No. Yeah, so I know what you mean there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I wrote this piece. My mother's love was never spoken, hidden before we woke in the golden rise and the kneaded bread, left to prove at first light filtered through her long day. My mother's love was never spoken, folded into crisp white sheets and plump pillows, firm hands moulded, rough edges smoothed before tiny heads grew heavy. My mother's love was never spoken, ladled into steaming soup bowls, the soles of her feet black from the cottage garden, a rainbow of homemade grown goodness, spoon-fed to poorly chicks. My mother's love was never spoken, sprinkled like magic in every layer of soft cake, whipped so light it melted like meringue on our growing lives, sweet like her apple pie. My mother's love was never spoken, instead it was a wordless sacrifice, a busy mother's gift. I am only sorry it took me a lifetime to decipher all her beautiful but quiet recipes.
That's beautiful, that. Oh, yeah, Amanda, I'm sure you could lay time with your mum, couldn't you? And that, so that was a really beautiful piece, that
Yeah.
one. So,
Have
is your mum still alive? Is she or not?
She died about 7 years ago, and we were very close in the end. She died of dementia, really, and complications with that. She was a diabetic and stuff. And I think it was only when we got older that I was able to see actually she'd loved me all along, but I was probably more affectionate and probably quite like I'll tend to give you a hug or stuff like that. And I think it's just different kinds of love, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's. You don't always realise till afterwards sometimes, do you, I suppose? So.
But I read that piece quite a few times, and I've had grown men cry.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they've got upset, like, because, it just, I think sometimes we do think people don't care for us, and it doesn't always mean that they don't. I think just generally as humans, we're not very good at sharing that kind of thing, are we?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Too. I think it's something as humans we've got to learn to do more.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So. Okay. Amanda.
I've got a poem now. This is called I Lost Myself on a Merry-Go-Round. Spinning faster than a merry-go-round, my head feels dizzy, my thoughts unclear. My world's a blur, I can't see straight, chewed up and spat out, I'm a mess. I don't know which way is left or right, can't distinguish up from down. My mind is racing, I'm spinning in loops, I'm lost in a world that's unclear. Everything's upside down, left is right, I'm a jumbled mess, viewed up and spat out. I'm disorientated, can't find my way up or down. My head is spinning faster than a merry-go-round. Circling and spiralling, the world spins faster, my vision's hazy, everything's unclear. I can't tell which way is up or down, chewed up and spat out, I'm a mere shell. I've lost my bearings, can't find the right way, spinning faster than light, but trapped in the dark. Left is right, up is down, my thoughts are scrambled, spinning round and round. I'm struggling to find my way, but I'm unclear. Chewed up and spat out, I'm a mess, no doubt. My world is topsy-turvy, I'm a human yo-yo. I can't seem to get my feet back on the ground. The merry-go-round slows down, comes to a stop, but my mind's still spinning, it won't let up. I'm still unclear, can't find my way left or right, my thoughts are jumbled, everything's a blur. Chewed up and spat out, I'm broken down, can no longer tell horizontal from vertical, so I spin and spin round and round. chewed up and spat out, unable to rebound. Left is right, up is down. I'm lost in a world that's unclear and unsound, my head's spinning faster than a merry-go-round, and I can't seem to find my way out.
Brilliant, that piece. Now, you better explain for Linda where the inspiration of that came from as well. 'Cause I know where that piece came from. You told me about that one.
The Stockport group that we go to, they've posted some pictures online from the 70s, some photographs that were taken, and they're getting people to write based on the photographs, and there's like a merry-go-round, and because it was moving around, it looks like it was spinning really fast, so I did it based on that.
That's good.
My second piece actually is from the same prompt, actually.
Right.
Because mine actually was, the picture I wrote was basically a little girl sat by the corner of the Stockport market in 1970, it says, from just looking completely fed up. So I wrote this in her eyes, actually. And it made a few people cry, this piece as well. I did, so I did a good job there. So, before sweets. Have you noticed the last piece, Linda? Jelly babies.
Yeah. Sweet tooth, that's why you have trouble with being a diabetic.
Yep, that's my weakness, right? So, anyway, before sweets. This is a bit of flash fiction. It's more prose this one, Amanda, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more prose this one, I think, actually. Before sweets. The early morning mist danced round Stockport Market, shrouding everything in a hazy veil. Mary stood at the edge of the stalls with her father and mother. They dragged her there on the promise they would take her to the sweet shop on the underbank. However, after 2 hours of constant haggling with vendors and bartering for bargains, she lost interest as the morning slipped away. It was not the case that Mary had not been there before with her parents. However, it was the first time she'd seen the two buskers when they started playing music outside the market hall in a way she'd never seen before, and she grabbed hold of her father's left hand in excitement. "Papa!" Mary, her father looked at her, not seeing the impact of their music. "Let's go and get that bag of sweets you wanted." But Mary shook her head. "I want to stay and listen to them all," she said, tugging at her father's hand. Her father hesitated before nodding with a smile. Over the following 10 minutes, she forgot about the hustle and bustle of the market, lost in the beauty of the moment. The music mesmerised her, and she couldn't help but smile and clap her hands together. "That was wonderful," she exclaimed. Her father grinned at her. "I'm glad you enjoyed it," he said. "Let's go and get your sweets." Mary nodded, her excitement returning as she thought about the lollipops she could choose from. She took his hand and followed him through the market towards the sweet stall, unaware in just a few moments how such a boring morning has suddenly become so wonderful.
Oh, that's cute.
I can be nice sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
So, okay, that's my thing. Cute piece there for you, right? No,
It is,
not
yeah.
miserable, not funny. So, no, nothing offensive. No, was it offensive or bad language in that one, was it?
I absolutely love a prompt. I mean, that's what I'm sort of doing at the minute. 'Cause I'm doing like a prompt every day.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really good way, whether like you say it's picture form or written, of just making you think more, doesn't it? And think out of the box sometimes. Of, something you might not have thought of, and then suddenly a piece is there.
Yeah, I agree. And it's half the time I think it is the experiment of it.
Yeah.
Whether you do anything with it or not, it's just the fact you've done it.
Yeah.
I think definitely with that. So, right, Linda, would you believe it? We're back to you again for
Okay, so this
piece number 3 now.
This piece came literally from a prompt about expression being massive. And because I'm sort of older,
No,
sort of doing the...
We're only doing 22, 23, aren't you?
I'm sort of older doing the stand-up. I think it's quite difficult sometimes where you can feel like everybody's like in the 30s and they're all like, what's that old woman getting up to do? So I think this came from that really. So this is my piece. Expression is massive. Creating magic for the masses. It's not always sweet stories about treacle and molasses. Sometimes it's about the dirty and the raw, about people like me, once shipwrecked but no more. Because a revolution is blowing through, catch the hurricane, because it's all about what you're willing to do. And I'm sailing with the people who appreciate free, wearing a chest of second chances, because people like me, we still believe that we can achieve. You look at my face, you say it's all slack, and I agree it's not wrinkles I lack. This skin's been too heavy too long, and I agree it's not pretty, so you're not all wrong. But I won't be invisible, I have something to say, because expression is massive, and I'm out there creating magic for the masses, in spite of your opinionated glasses.
Amanda, what do you say in that act? I've got something I want to say about that.
Yeah, I felt the rhythm behind that.
Yeah, it's very almost hip hop actually. It was. And definitely the beat behind it. If you like group rapping to music or something, I can see you doing that with that piece. That's why not. Excellent. So did you find that? Because that's obviously not your normal voice. That was that a bit of a trickier piece to write though? When you got the voice for it, did it come quite quick?
Yeah, I think once I sort of thought about it, but I do like sort of exploring the themes really, and I sometimes don't always think I found my voice, and then at other times think, you know what, my voice is different every day. That I have found my voice. It's just that different days I'll give you different things, and I don't want to be pigeonholed as a writer either. And I think people easily do that, don't they? Go, she writes funny things, or she writes about family, or whatever it is. And I don't want to necessarily be pigeonholed, not by other people. I want to do what I want to do.
Not your best way, because I can ask you, when I first met Amanda here, Amanda was a horror novelist, really, weren't you?
I feel like I've been pigeonholed a little bit.
Yeah, but you
it's
keep
like,
breaking
I get up
that.
and read something serious now, and people are laughing, and it's like, no, this is a serious thing.
Yeah, that's what she gets.
Well, I think it's the truth, isn't it? You know, like people do want to do that for you.
Yeah. Back to Amanda.
Okay, so this is called The Country of Lost Things. In the country of lost things, I passed the streets where I grew up, checked out, came back, trying to lose myself along the way, never able to run fast enough. I lost my hope and the will to fight, almost give up, but carried on breathing, ebbing and flowing, forwards and backwards. Found a new me beyond the dead weeds. Digging myself into a hole, I lost my youth trying to grow up. Let chances pass me by, making the wrong decisions. I lost time but found knowledge, accepting that I can't go back, looking forward instead, learning from the past, escaping this hall of mirrors. I lost the things I thought I needed, but memories sustained me, and turned into friends instead of enemies, or ghosts that haunt me between dusk and sunrise, getting swallowed up in darkness. In the country of lost things, I found ways to spread my wings and fly. Sometimes I fall and get lost in shadows, but remind myself I've been here before. I've always found my way back.
What was the inspiration for that?
The prompt was The Country of Lost Things for the Stockport group next month.
Right.
And I was just thinking about like all the things, you know, you lose throughout your life, and not like necessarily like, you know, tangible things.
Yeah.
It's kind of my fault that, because I sneak what they do with their content. They do a collage poem where people can write a line about where the night's reflected in them. And I had in my head about a novel called In the Country of Lost Things by Paul Auster, which I love. And it kind of got the prompt then, so by accident for next month.
That's good though. I think it's quite a clever little prompt, that.
He's a clever writer.
I might steal it and do a piece myself.
Do it. I've got
I
one.
think you'll have to come to the Stockport group and read it.
I've wrote mine, but I'm not going to read it out now. Okay, so but I'm going to cheat now and do two. Okay, because one of them's a 40-word story I've just told you about, and this will be Get Ready to Speak Easy in May. And I've been doing. It's basically started off because
Steve will be chasing you.
It'd be suing me, Steve, at this rate. I did one last month. It went down really well, actually. It did. And it did go down well that month. That one, didn't it? Yeah. And I wrote another one. I've wrote about several actually. This one's called Back to First Dates. I got wrong. So this one's called Contortionist. As he took a sip of his drink, she twisted her body into an impossible shape. He tried to look away, but he couldn't. He realised this was not the kind of flexibility he was looking for in a partner. So, like I said, anyway.
You'll have a book out soon.
I've wrote about 12. Well, trouble with Steve wrote about 200, and I'll probably need to do about 200 if I do a book on it. But it won't be this year, so they've been fun anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I wrote a sonnet actually for Part of Napawino this year. I was hoping my last piece. And I've wrote what was the third one in my life I've ever done them, and the first two caused me nightmares. It's an awful device to try and write. And have you ever tried a sonnet?
Yeah, but I'm no good with numbers, but I do love sonnets.
This is the one I wrote actually on sonnet for Napawino this year, National Poetry Month. Because I've been writing those, and I've told you two both know, been writing haikus this year to somewhat easier so I can get my head round. But as soon as the sonnet came up, I thought, I'll have to write one. So this is my sonnet for this year. Early Spring Sonnet. The end of winter's grasp now fades away as spring awakens with its vibrant bloom. The earth renews, blowing softly across the bay, dispelling the coldness in the winter's gloom. The spring carries Spring carries secrets of life renewed, a promise of the growth that's to come. The hazy sunrise dancing on the leaves like dew in a symphony silence and home. My emotions swell with gratitude and cheer, beholding the changing season before my eyes. Filling my tears of hope, all soon will be clear, and life will blossom again across the skies. Old worries flee in silent flight, as spring brings hope with new delight.
I think Shakespeare would be pretty proud of that.
I think he probably would be, actually. I said that was pretty easy, and I struggle with him. So I don't know. People have been asking me since to write another one for you. No.
Yeah, I think
It
you've got a
didn't
skill
feel
there.
like you, which is a good
It
thing.
didn't,
'cause
yeah.
It's like doing different things.
Yeah, if you'd have said to me you'd found that in a book, I would believe you, and I don't mean that disrespectful. It's just like that's not the kind of work you usually read out, but that was really nice.
Yeah, so I can be nice. See? So anyway, it's on to you now, Linda, for the big finale tonight.
Okay, well I don't know what to do for the big finale, so I don't know.
If you want to do, got time, do too.
Okay, I'm going to do this one called Blackberries. And again, that came from a prompt. Don't cry. This is what happens when love ends. It's a lot like the beginning when your heart aches, only all the butterflies have left. The last of their cocoons wedged in your throat, making it hard to breathe. Independence Day spent in a dusty broom closet. The only fireworks are the neurons sparking in your demented mind, as you argue with yourself in the dark as to why it happened, striking matches to keep warm so that you don't feel so alone, letting them burn the tips of your fingers while contemplating erasing the past completely, starting with yourself. Instead, you start the blame reel, a movie night for one, examining every word or gesture you once made, the whole love affair under a microscope. You search for missing clues, and when the flood comes, it starts with a single tear. It always does. Like a symphony starts with a single note, your own large-scale orchestra of pain, ready to play out. A composition for feelings instead of music. You will hear every instrument, violin, cello and double bass, as if every nerve were being played. And when the crescendo is reached, oh, that sob. What an animalistic cry to the gods of tragedy that is.
Ooh, I like that ending. Amanda, what do you say to that? Was that about anybody in question, as it felt like it did?
Not really, no. I think I was just thinking about love affairs and like when things end, you know, like
Really good piece,
how
that.
much emotion's involved in that. And it's very much like a grief, isn't it, almost, when a relationship ends.
Yeah.
Even if you don't particularly get on with that person at the end, you know.
No,
I
it's
think
true.
people have been married for a long time, you know, your whole life's around that other person, isn't it?
Yes, no, I got that straight away. That was a really good piece, that.
Thank you.
So, like I said, since we've got time, give us another piece.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind unless we've got time tonight, okay?
Okay, so this is a piece that I entered into for an anthology for Kathy from Spoken Passions. Is it called Spoken Passions?
Damien's Night.
Damien's Night, yeah.
Kathy. I don't know. Kathy?
She's from Yorkshire somewhere.
Ah,
The blonde woman. She could. I met when I first met her.
Oh, fair enough. Yes, probably someone. I don't necessarily know everybody on that night, so.
So it's going to be in an anthology, and she's doing sort of pictures as well. So she's got someone to do the artistry of the
That's
book
nice.
as well.
That's nice.
So this came from just when I was like younger. My favourite thing was like riding on a train. The house is a riot of activity. Dad's preening in the bathroom mirror smells of Old Spice. His hair is slick, brill creamed into submission. His leather shoes spit and polish an inch of their lives. He steers his tie with precision into the perfect spot, while Mum is downstairs making sandwiches, directing children with the well-honed skills of an octopus. Dad manoeuvres his family of dawdling carriages through the quiet streets, constantly checking his pockets watch and tutting till we arrive at the station on time. We pass like royalty through the crowd, escorted to our seats with the tip of a hat, finally collapsing into soft carpeted chairs, the smell of adventure in the air. As the train leaves the station, I sit quietly, waiting for my day trip mission to begin. My older sisters are already arguing about some boy. Soon they will grow louder. Dad stretching out his paper in readiness, and soon we will all disappear behind it. I watch the red brick buildings of Manchester give way to fields of emerald green. our carriage rocking back and forth as Mum straightens her Spencer skirt, removes her scarf, patting at the falling curls, wiggling toes free of high heels. She is ready to relax. Right, who wants to win an extra scoop of ice cream? Eager hands fly up like helium balloons. She works a mesmerised crowd. Then let's see who can spot the most rabbits. And there it is, the challenge. The day out has begun. In earnest, small as I am, there will be but one victor, as I press my face against the glass and start to count.
Brilliant stuff, that one.
I still like counting rabbits.
Oh no, that is such a good piece, that tells you. Amanda, I'm asking your opinion. Do you agree with that, wasn't it? Yeah. It didn't feel like it was that prosy, was it more?
It's just the way I've set it out. I suppose it is poetry really, but I suppose it's poetry prose as well.
Yeah,
it's
more the prose than the poetry.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good piece out there, isn't it? Oh, I can see that in the book actually, definitely. And that's brilliant. Now, obviously, Linda, to wrap up then today, I know you've got a book on the way, haven't you? So it's on the early stages of development.
It's in the early stages, so I'm not saying anything about it.
Yeah,
I don't know yet.
We won't put in more detail on it, but you do have a book probably due being in next year.
I'm going to be publishing, I hope, next year, yeah.
In next year, so watch your space, okay? I'm looking forward to this, I know Amanda is. So anyway, that's it. We're going to chat on a bit further now because I've got some other stuff I want to tell Linda about, but not story time related. So Amanda, thank you as always. Okay. And thank you, Linda.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you all soon, guys. Take care of yourselves.
Storytime with Andy and Amanda.